really were hoping that this could be salvaged. Certainly they were banking on the fact that their candidate is the more experienced one, that he was somebody who had a solid record in power, and that he was somebody that could be reassuring to French voters at a time where there's a lot of uncertainty, not least over issues of security. But of course, that was proven to be wrong this evening. As the results were delivered, you could hear a sigh, people being very resigned to this defeat. Of course, the polls had predicted the results that we've heard this evening at around 19 or 20% for Francois Fillon. This will be, I think, a moment to look inwards for Les Républicains. It was, of course, the last of the traditional parties that was in the final four for this round, and certainly there will be big questions about why they have polled so poorly. There has, of course, been the issue of the corruption scandals that Francois Fillon was mired in, but there is something much deeper, I think, in France today when you look at the fact that the two traditional parties, Les Républicains on the right and the Socialists on the left, are not represented in tonight's results. There certainly has been a shift away from those parties, and I think for many people here at the HQ for Francois Fillon's campaign, people are wondering where it all went so wrong.
Myriam, Francois Fillon said that this whole investigation into the money that he paid his wife and children was a political assassination cooked up by his left-wing political rivals, including the current outgoing president, President Hollande. What do you make of that? Was he complaining unfairly?
Certainly, there were a number of allegations that were dogging Francois Fillon's campaign, and he did point out that it seemed that there was almost a politicized campaign against him. Now, his spokesperson has spoken just now, saying that this was a very disappointing result for him. He will, of course, no doubt be pointing to the fact that perhaps there were political motivations behind the bringing up of so many various allegations, from the fact that he is alleged to have employed his wife and children in fictitious jobs, through to who was funding some of his more expensive suits. Of course, the question here is that the investigation into the job scandal is an ongoing one, and it is worth pointing out that it's not uncommon for French politicians to hire family members. The question, of course, is whether the jobs in question were in fact real. And of course, the sums involved with things that were shocking to many French voters, not least because Francois Fillon's political program involved severe cuts to public spending. He was essentially asking French voters to tighten their belts, yet at the same time, this image of a sort of squeaky clean politician that he'd put forward was really dampened by these allegations, and it does seem that he was unable to recover from them.
Myriam, Francois Hollande beat Nicolas Sarkozy and also Alain Juppé to become the Republican Party candidate. He's now appeared to have been pushed right out of the race. So tell me, where does that leave the Republican Party now? It's going to be a purge, isn't it?
Well, certainly there will be big questions. There were already huge divisions within the Républicain Party over whether or not to continue to support Francois Fillon during this particular presidential campaign. Many people had asked him to step down in light of those allegations, and it was really up until the last minute that some of the more senior figures in the party had been hesitating as to whether to lend their support. Earlier this week, Alain Juppé, of course, had stepped out with Francois Fillon, really to lend a final credibility to his campaign. But it does appear that now the party itself will be asking serious questions over the direction. Francois Fillon had been trying to take the direction to a more conservative strand. Some within the party felt that that was not the right direction. He's been called by many commentators the Thatcherite, the French Thatcherite. He certainly appeared to have been very inspired by sort of the very neoliberal neoliberal policies on economic issues, but also very socially conservative when it comes to more social issues. The Republican Party now will be looking at whether or not it needs to rethink the direction. And it does appear that those who felt that Francois Fillon was not the man for the job, was not the man to take the party in a new direction, will feel very vindicated this evening.